What's new in Copilot for Excel? Full disclosure, I am not an Excel power user. If there is an area of opportunity for me in the Microsoft suite, it deals with all things and everything Excel.
Same.
But with my friend Copilot, I can excel in working with spreadsheets because Copilot is supercharged when it comes to working with Excel. So I'm going to go into an Excel workbook that I have that I use frequently for demos. This is just a default Microsoft template for a warehouse inventory list. And the new features that we have in Excel from Microsoft now, uh, traditionally, when you've worked with Excel, it has to be in a table format. You have to have table formatted data in order to interact with it. I am not in a table. I am nowhere near a table. I am in blank cells, and notice I can still invoke Copilot off to the side now. The improvement that they made here is that you can click anywhere in the workbook, and then Copilot will look for the nearest table or set of structured data, and then it will try to interpret that data and do the Copilot ask that you have of it. So that's a huge change. Traditionally, I've had to actually click in the table to activate Copilot because it's been grayed out up in the top. Now I can just click in the workbook anywhere, doesn't matter. It'll look for the nearest table or data that resembles a table like format, and it'll start allowing me to work with Copilot against that. I think that's pretty huge. The other extension of that is that this is table data, right? This is clearly table formatted in a table format. Well, let's go to a new tab, and we can like paste that in, and it shouldn't be formatted as a table, but I can invoke Copilot against that data now over here on this this information. So like like I'm clicking in it and I'm not getting a table tab on the top. Versus if I were on the previous tab and I click in there, it says table design. So that tells me formatted this table. I go back over here, even though some of the formatting is the same, I'm not getting a table tab at the top. So this is just, there's a header section, it's implied, there's data underneath it, and I can actually go and work with Copilot from here. So, you know, are there any outliers in my data? And it's going to look at that, even though it's not formatted as a table, it has the structure of a table with the headers and then the columns and the rows. Copilot can now work with that. So it works with table and non-tabled formatted data. I think that's a huge help for a lot of organizations. Additionally, when you start working with it and you do things like show data insights, Copilot's really good at extracting insights in your data that you might not have been aware of. It'll look for trends. It'll work for um, insights based off of business formulas and business practices that you might not have been aware of. And then based off of that, it'll give you kind of an output with that. But one of the things that I think it does a really good job of is when you're working with this, you can ask it to see insights. And based off of those insights, it's going to be able to add in additional columns. And as part of those additional columns, it would be able to add in formulas, and it would be able to help you to troubleshoot maybe formulas around that data. So like I might tell it, um, uh, let's just refresh this to kind of restart the session with this workbook and go back into Copilot. I might go in and tell it or ask it, is there a correlation between the reorder time in days and quantity in reorder versus the reorder level? Now, full disclosure, I've done Copilot against this before, and Copilot actually showed me a formula that said, based off of the quantity that you have in stock and the reorder level that you're looking at, and the time that you have for a reorder with the total number of items that would be in that reorder, you need to look at reordering this many days ahead of time. And so it knows there's a correlation with that. So if I ask it something kind of along the same lines, it'll often suggest, hey, maybe you create a new column with data that visualizes that correlation. Here it's saying, well, maybe we'll create a chart or a graphic around that. But the other thing is that if you wanted to add a column and help you to create a formula against that, Copilot can actually do that. So we'll say, like, can you add a column to calculate a reorder and I'm just saying, factoring in the quantity in stock versus reorder time in days and reorder level. And make sure we spell calculate correctly. And in this case, because I've used natural language to kind of talk to it, it should generate a formula selection for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then in some cases, it's going to, and there it is, there's the formula editor. So it's telling me you're going to do an and formula, you're going to reference the quality or the quantity in stock greater than, and you're going to reference the reorder level as well as the time in days, and you're going to base that off of a value greater than 0. And now it's explained that column to me. But if I want more details, I can actually go into show explanation, and then it gives it to me in natural language. It explains exactly what all that IntelliSense expression language actually means in common language. And it gives me a sample that shows what it's actually going to look like. It even gives me an actionable item to insert this as a column. And notice what happens when I hover over that button. It's adding that into the workbook as a row M.
Mm-hmm.
And telling me, hey, there's a reorder that's actually needed based off of the formula that we're entering in here. And if I click on one of those values, it's actually showing me the formula. So in this case, through the conversation, I learned that I should be comparing the quantity in stock with the amount of time it takes to reorder based off of the number of items in a reorder level. Now I have a column that clearly identifies that, and it explains the expression that it uses around that. So as I get a complex expression, I can say, explain how this works, and then get a detailed explanation around that, even if I don't fully understand the IntelliSense that they're using or the expression language that they're using in Excel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a new feature. Again, I'm not an Excel guru. I don't know, all the ins and outs of the syntax, but I know enough to be dangerous. And if I can't get something here, I have no problem pulling Copilot up in the sidebar and having a sidebar conversation with it to tweak that. Of course, it's going to make a liar out of me, to tweak that formula a little bit more and to get more value out of it. And between the two, you can really get some powerful results out of it. But the formula assistance, because it's based off of definitive rules and guidelines, is much more powerful than it was when this was released a year ago. So I've seen big improvements with that amongst teammates that I work with, being able to explain the formula in clear, concise language, being able to insert it into the table, and being able to work with non-table based data. Those are all huge improvements for Excel. And we're really only scratching the surface, but admittedly, neither one of us are Excel gurus. We know enough to be dangerous.
Exactly. It's not going to make me an Excel master. It's not magic, but it might help me look like I know what I'm doing when I don't actually know what I'm doing. I love it. I think that's really cool. So hopefully it'll make me less afraid to use Excel a little bit.
Hey, maybe if somebody out there is viewing the video and you're an Excel power user and you're a Copilot user and you want to talk about that, reach out to one of us. We'll have you on the show. We'd love to do a
Yeah,
deeper dive
that'd be
into Excel
awesome.
capabilities. I'm always looking to learn more. And this is one area I know I
Mhm.
definitely need to learn more on. So if you're a Copilot Excel user, would love to hear your thoughts on this. Let us know in the comments. Let us
Absolutely.
know on LinkedIn. Maybe we'll have you on the show here in the future. That'd be an awesome
Mhm.
session.